What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is the situation we have right here. This is Tropical Depression Celia. We have Tropical Storm Blas also to talk about as well. So we're going to start with Tropical Depression Celia, as this is continuing to develop over Guatemala and El Salvador. So just for context, this was a tropical storm. It became Tropical Storm Celia, and then it weakened down to a tropical depression once again. And right now it's currently basically stationary off the coast of Guatemala and El Salvador. We have the cone right here. Yeah, its movement stationary is its maximum sustained winds are 30 miles per hour. Its current location is 13 degrees north, 90.1 degrees west. So it's basically just off the coast of El Salvador right here. It's the 4 p.m. advisory. The pressure is 1,006 millibars with this. It is expected to stay in as a tropical depression for the next couple of days, and then it is expected to strengthen into a strong tropical storm, and then beyond as it moves in the Pacific Ocean right here. By the time the Thursday rolls around, it could be a strong tropical storm, and we actually have some other track and intensity models to show you guys. So this is the latest track models right here. It's expected to stay. It's expected to kind of move to the west and then to the west northwest as time goes on. Similar path to Hurricane Blas and now Tropical Storm Blas right now. But the intensity, though, this is where things get interesting, because more and more models are now indicating this thing to potentially become a hurricane as time goes on. The HWFI has this going all the way up to Category 4 strength, which that seems a bit far-fetched, but nothing is off the table. If this thing can quickly organize, get its act together over the warm water, and and conditions get a little bit more favorable, it could get up to that strength, but it is a bit. I am confident to say that is a bit far-fetched. The NIC has this up to Category 2 hurricane, which isn't really that far-fetched. For me, honestly, it's too early for me to say how strong this thing is going to be at its peak. Hurricane Blas was at 90 miles per hour at its peak. There's basically, and we have more models now. We have the AVNI, the DSHP. We have the IVCN. That's actually we have the IVCN, the ICON, and the NNIB. Basically, now expected to become for this thing to become a hurricane at this point, and the rest of them have it as a strong tropical storm. So the variation's too much for me to confidently say anything. So as of right now, it is too early for me to say how strong this thing's going to be. So the global sea temperatures, we need to take a look at this. We're actually going to go ahead and take a look at the Eastern Pacific Ocean, and this is very interesting right here. We're looking at an area of basically like 28 to 29 degrees Celsius of waters right here. Really, there's no sign of the waters cooling down. Like the amount of reserve hurricane warm water is insane in this part of the world right here, and off the coast of Guatemala and Mexico right here, all the way into the Pacific Ocean. So that's the situation we're looking at. Like Celia has plenty of warm water. As long as that wind shear starts to weaken a bit, then it'll have no problem strengthening. But the water is continuing to warm up in areas like the Gulf of Mexico. We need to take a look at that, because we're looking at a broad area of 30 degrees, like that's 86 degrees Fahrenheit throughout much of Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of Alabama. We're now registering 31-degree temperatures in Lake Pontchartrain, so that's a very interesting situation to take a look at, and that's something we need to monitor as time goes on. And I will continue to stick with that. But we have to talk about Tropical Storm Blas. This is the next story right here. It currently has winds of 50 miles per hour at the time of recording. It initially peaked at 90 miles per hour yesterday, and since then it has been gradually weakening. It is now a 50 mile per hour tropical storm, there are some storms that impact this island right here. And we have the latest on it right here. It's expected to strengthen into a tropical depression by Monday, and then it's just going to meander in the Pacific Ocean for the next couple of days as it gradually dissipates. In fact, the structure of it doesn't even look nearly as impressive as it did a few days ago. We can actually, I'm going to try to pull it up the last 200 frames if we can for this. Yeah, this is where we were basically yesterday morning. and this thing continued to really get its act together, and then kind of just, like, if you take a look at it, just those minus 70 cloud tops just evaporated evaporated in an instant. And this thing then began weakening. It started moving over colder temperatures. The wind shear started to get weaker. Like, this thing just really just, like, if we take a look at this list, this thing just really just kind of died off, and then it reformed as a weaker storm. That's the way I'm looking at this right now. If you think about it, like, that's literally how this happened. And you literally saw this. This was developing pretty good cloud tops. Like, we were at 90 miles per hour, and then it just stops, and then it just kind of starts dying off in the Pacific right here, which that's an interesting thing to take a look at right there. We'll have to take a look at the cone right here. We already did. The tracks intensity. The tracks basically have this thing moving due west, and then just kind of splits off after 3 days. So we'll have to continue to pay attention to that. Pressure, I forgot to mention, is now 998 millibars. Tropical storm force winds extend to 80 miles from the center. And the intensity miles continue having this thing weakening, with some having this expecting to weaken as a tropical depression as soon as 24 hours. And basically, what we're looking at by 48 hours, it's almost universally accepted that this thing's going to be a tropical depression. So that's essentially the situation we have right here. This is Tropical Storm Blas. Once Hurricane Blas, now Tropical Storm Blas. And the storm we need to pay attention to now is Tropical Depression Celia, because if some of these models are correct, this could be the third hurricane with the third named storm. And I said this in the last time I covered this, that if we have this is probably the first time we've seen this, and this has major implications 2 to 3 months down the road. So I want everyone to pay attention to this and keep a close eye on it. But with that being said, it's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather, which is what I hope I am doing with these videos. But with that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.